G'day everyone, Eric here. 1984 is home to some of the most iconic Transformers toys of the original line, possibly all time. Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Starscream, and Bumblebee still see releases to this day, not just because they are beloved core characters, but because these are genuinely enjoyable toys. They're timeless, with a lot of charm, over 40 years after their initial Diaclone and microchange releases. However, there is another side to 1984. Not the fun yet problematic Megatron toy, nor the toy Hasbro recognises as the first toy to convert from a car to a robot, Sunstreaker, or more accurately, what we now call Spin-Out. No, 1984 is also home to quite possibly the most reviled mold of early G1, maybe even the entirety of the original toy line, the Nissan one-box Vanette, the mold used by Ironhide and Ratchet. The legacy of Diaclone. It's well known that the original 1984 Transformers toys were a mishmash of two Japanese toy lines, Diaclone and Microchange, but those two toy lines are fairly similar in terms of aesthetics. The Decepticons have enough similarities between each other to look like they all came from the same toy line. The Diaclone Jet Robo toys don't stand out next to the Microchange Cassette Man or Gun Robo. These toys all pass for sentient robots just fine too. The Autobots, on the other hand, are in no way unified aesthetically. The majority of the mini-bots have a distinctly different look due to their own unique origins, while the Autobot cars and Optimus Prime share their origins in the Car Robo line from Diaclone. However, they don't all share design traits. The majority of the Autobot cars are exactly what you'd expect of a Transformer from the time, a car that turns into a robot. Sometimes the proportions are strange in regards to where the shoulders sit, but the general look of a humanoid robot is there. Then there is the Nissan one-box Vanette, shared by Ironhide and Ratchet. There are very few redeeming features about the Nissan Vanette. Half of the toy is removed and set aside as an accessory, while the resulting robot is absolutely tiny, only coming up to Prime's waist, making it barely taller than Bumblebee. It has this weird cavity in the crotch, while the legs are bland and undetailed. The arms are short, and it looks like it's both missing half of the arm, and they come out of the stomach region. Then there is the most egregious part of this toy, the lack of a head. Though, while the toy is lacking a head, it does have a face. Not too dissimilar to Bugbite or Baron Von Joy from the Deluxe GoBots, the windscreen is the face. The Nissan toys both have a rather unappealing sticker applied to the seat behind the windscreen in lieu of a head. This also changes how the toy as a whole looks once you notice this. The arms aren't sitting at the stomach, they're sitting at the shoulders. It's just very, very stumpy. When compared to the rest of the Autobot cars, it's an absolutely hideous toy and dramatically outclassed. There is a very strong argument for the Nissan Vanette mold to be the worst of the entire Transformers Generation 1 toy line. However, this is looking at the Nissan one-box Vanette through the Transformers lens, and that's doing it a great disservice. Yes, the Nissan Vanette mold is an absolutely horrendous Transformers toy. It cannot pass for a sentient robot at all, and Hasbro's attempts to make it more in line for what they envisioned Transformers to be are so poor that they arguably make the toy look even worse. It becomes a laughingstock. But that's not what it originally was. The Nissan one-box Vanette was one of the first two toys from the Car Robo subline of Diaclone, releasing with the Lamborghini Countach in March of 1982. Like all of the Diaclone toys, it was originally a mech suit. The only difference between the Nissan Vanette and the other Diaclone toys incorporated into Transformers is that there is no getting away from the fact the Nissan Vanette is a piloted mech, whereas the rest pass for sentient robots. For the original Diaclone release of the Nissan One-Box Vanette, the Diaclone pilot would sit behind the windscreen and pilot the mech from there, looking not too dissimilar to the power loader from Aliens. It has a unique play pattern from among the Diaclone toys, where over half of the van would be removed to become a battle station for the mech to mount. For Diaclone, the Nissan One-Box Vanette has a lot of play value for such a small item. As you can see when talking about the Nissan One-Box Vanette toy, context matters. While there are better Diaclone toys, you can take a very positive spin on the Nissan Vanette. It has a lot to offer from both the toy of 1984 and the Diaclone brand. It's also one of the first. The Transformers release, however, is incredibly disappointing, worthy of mockery, and the cartoon wasn't helping things. False advertising. When toy lines are adapted for animation, especially during the 1980s, designs are simplified to help the animation staff produce episodes at a brisk pace. This will usually lead to discrepancies between the toys and the animation. However, Transformers is unique in just how far the cartoon strays from the toys. This was going to happen regardless. Many of the Diaclone and Microchange toys had either very complex and detailed designs, odd proportions, or in the case of Megatron, the placement of the trigger in the robot mode. You even have the case of Bumblebee receiving a completely new face. But all of these changes are both understandable and the toys are still recognisable. Then you have both the Nissan Vanettes. Both Ironhide and Ratchet would be completely overhauled with a more conventional form. The proportions are fixed, so both now look like a man wearing boxers with a windshield for a chest. They also receive new heads. Ratchet's head seems to be a reuse of the Datsun head with the chevrons, while Ironhide's head is shrouded in mystery. His head is either completely original, or, as a commenter has suggested to me, a window into the development process of Transformers. Ironhide's head, general body shape, and deco is suspiciously similar to MC-18 Magnaman from Microchange. As Megatron's model is based on the prototype of the MC-13 P-38 Walther gun robo rather than the finished product, and Rumble's pile drivers have a rather large resemblance to the arms of MC-19 Binocular Robo Scope Man, another toy that wasn't in Transformers, it stands within reason that Ironhide could have aspects of a toy unreleased in Transformers 2. Regardless of whatever the case is, the stark contrast between the cartoon depictions of Ironhide and Ratchet and the Nissan One-Box Vanette toy is precisely why the toy has the reputation it does within the Transformers community. The show is an advertising vehicle. It exists to sell toys, and what it was advertising, the characters using the Nissan molds, couldn't be any further from the actual product. This undoubtedly led to Ironhide and Ratchet being among the least desirable toys of the 1984 assortment and disappointed many children. The Nissan One-Box Vanette mold was last released in the late 2000s and only in Japan, likely because of just how controversial it is within the Transformers community. With that final release, Takara would include cardboard heads using the cartoon depictions of Ironhide and Ratchet instead of the stickers. This would effectively move the shoulders down to the stomach, and the result was still utterly ridiculous, just for different reasons. It's a toy that lives in infamy amongst the Transformers fandom. G1, especially in its back half, has a fair few toys that aren't well liked. But the Nissan Vanette is a special case. It's hated not for what it is, or for what it's doing, but for what it isn't. While this mentality is far more common today towards toys, the Nissan Vanette was the first, and within the Transformers lens, it's perfectly justified. The thing is, those toys from 1984 and 1985, they're more than meets the eye. They're more than just Transformers. If you enjoyed today's video and want more Transformers content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Till next time, friends, this has been Eric from Toys Down Under, and thanks for watching.